Hello everyone, welcome. I should be looking here, I don't know which, I've got three cameras here today. We're trying a little setup, going back to the desk. For those who've been watching some of our webinars, we've had our couches, which are now set up in the shadows over here. So I'm looking at a new setup, and with a new setup we have a new guest. I'm just speaking to Martim, M-A-R-T-I-M, Martim, not Martin, Martim Noronha. Noronha, from Visit Madeira. Now, I know nothing about Madeira other than some research I did. We titled our webinar, A Piece of Portugal in the Atlantic. So that in itself should tell people that it's not mainland Portugal. It is Portuguese territory. Is it Portugal or is it Portuguese territory? That's the first question I have for you.
So hi Don, and hi everyone. Thank you for having me here today. It is a pleasure to talk about Madeira. It is a Portuguese territory.
Okay.
It is actually a group of islands.
Okay.
So the main island is Madeira, but there are other smaller islands like Porto Santo, Desertas and Selvagens. But we'll see a bit about them through the next slides.
In your presentation?
In my presentation.
So I'm going to do my usual thing, ask a few questions to get us going, and then we will pass it over to Martim, and he will present all the meat and potatoes, nuts and bolts on Madeira. So we've already mentioned it's an island. I know you might touch on some of this in your presentation. So it's a territory. So I like my history. When did it become part of Portugal? Has it always been part of Portugal?
It has always been part of Portugal, Don.
Okay.
Madeira was discovered by the Portuguese on 1419 and 1420. The first island they discovered was Porto Santo, and the second island was Madeira. However, the Portuguese and the Spanish, who at the time divided the world in two, already knew that the islands existed there, but the formal discovery was in 1419 and 1420.
So was Madeira and the island group used as a stopping point on the way down around Africa when they were looking for the spice trade, and then when Columbus set sail, was it used as a supply port?
Very much so.
Right,
very much so. The islands were very important for the Portuguese kingdom as a port of stopping between the sailing trips between Portugal and India, and also Portugal and Africa, and Portugal and Brazil.
And what became the New World. Were the islands inhabited before Portugal found them, claimed them?
The islands were inhabited.
Okay.
So to give you an idea, the first island was Porto Santo, which translates to Holy Harbour. Legend says that the Portuguese settlers were on their way to India, and the storm deviated them from their route through the south, through the Africa coast, and took them to the middle of the Atlantic. So they found the island of Porto Santo and called it Holy Harbour. So in the middle of the storm, finding this island, Holy Harbour. But they saw in between the midst of clouds a shape of another island, which was Madeira.
Okay.
They called it Madeira because Madeira means woods. And legend says that when the settlers arrived to the island, it was filled with a lot of trees, large trees. So they called it Madeira for wood.
But were there people on the island?
No, not at all.
Oh, they were totally uninhabited?
Yes.
Really? Okay, because I think it's the Canary Islands, I believe, had inhabitants prior to the Spanish colonizing. Okay, so it was open territory.
Yes.
And I guess, again, going back to my history, in the day of sail, that the wooden trees would have been beneficial for the ships and refitting, because most sailing ships, when they went for supplies, often needed to redo their masts, and they went looking for certain types of wood. Okay, then. So I don't want to steal too much of your thunder. You said there are 3 islands? Or there's more than 3?
It's 3 groups of islands.
3 groups.
So the main one is Madeira, and it's the largest island. The second island, and also habited, is Porto Santo, the first island that the Portuguese settlers discovered.
Okay.
And then you have other 2 groups of islands, which are natural protected reserves for wildlife. They are guarded by our park rangers, so you can visit them upon scheduling. They are called Desertas Islands, so 3 islands which can be seen from Madeira. Another 2 islands called the Selvagens Islands. These are much closer to the Canary Islands rather than to Madeira, but they are part of the group.
Okay. So would those islands be similar to the Galapagos with respect to wildlife, in that they're a national park, you can visit them, not on your own, you have to be scheduled tours, etc.?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Though even smaller islands.
Okay, so I don't want to ask too many more questions because I'm probably taking away from your webinar here. I will now pass it over to Martim. He will present on Madeira and the surrounding islands. and then we'll come back with some questions afterwards. So over to you, Martin.
Thank you, Don. So hello, everyone. And once again, what a pleasure it is to be here to talk about the islands of Madeira. My name is Martim Noronha, and I'm here on behalf of Madeira Promotion Bureau. We are the destination's official DMO, with the main objective of promoting the islands of Madeira and Porto Santo as tourism destinations. The first thing that probably comes to mind to everyone is, where exactly is Madeira? Where's this group of beautiful islands? So Madeira is a group of Portuguese islands located in the middle of the Atlantic. We're located about 1,000 kilometers southwest from Lisbon and about 500 kilometers from the Africa coast. So we are actually closer to Africa than to the Portuguese mainland, though we are a Portuguese group of islands. I say group of islands because there's more than Madeira. You've got the island of Madeira on one side, but there's also Porto Santo, a second island smaller than Madeira, and it's also habited. And then the Desertas Islands and Selvagens Islands. Now, these last two groups of islands are protected wildlife reserves. They are guarded by our Parks and Rangers Institute, but you can visit them upon scheduling. We are also very well connected with the main European capitals, and during the summer we also have a direct flight with the US through Newark with United Airlines. However, if you want to combine Madeira with any other European capitals, you can also do that. We also are very well known as a nice climate destination. We've got a lot of hours of solar exposure throughout the year and a very good climate. The average temperature on the island, to give you an idea, is about 20 degrees Celsius, a bit warmer in the summer and a bit cooler in the winter, but never goes around these types of temperatures. So it's a very nice place to be in. I start talking about the capital, Funchal, the capital of Madeira, located in the south coast. Funchal is quite a cosmopolitan city where the old and the new mix up very well between each other. You've got from one side the beautiful old churches and chapels, beautiful old cobblestone streets, but at the same time your clients can enjoy amazing restaurants and amazing shops to discover. Right at the edge of Funchal, you've got the old town where the city started developing itself. Now here you'll find beautiful old fortresses and churches like Capela do Socorro that you can see here, or even the yellow fortress of St. James the Lesser on the central image. You also have beautiful painted doors at Rua de Santa Maria, one of the oldest streets of the city. And right at the edge of Funchal Old Town, you'll find the farmers markets. This is quite a big attraction as well, as here your clients can find the freshest products from Madeira, from local fruits and vegetables, but also to our fish market where you have fresh fish every day. And speaking of gastronomy, it is very important for us. You'll find delicious foods in Madeira. From our typical bread, the bolo do caco that you can see here, to our most famous seafood dish, the lapas or limpets as we call them, to our most famous meat dish, the espetada, which consists of beef skewers grilled in charcoal. And to wash all of these, why not try one of our most famous cocktail, the poncha. Now this one is made with sugarcane rum, agricultural rum as we call it, produced on the islands. Some say that after 5 ponchas you start speaking Portuguese, while others can swear that after 10 they became fully fluent within the language. Mind you that the rum is 60% plus proof, so it's quite strong. Speaking also of other drinks, the famous Madeira wine. It is a wine that has traveled all around the world. It is a fortified wine. It's quite strong, between 17 to 22 degrees proof, but also very sweet. We have it as an aperitif or as a dessert wine. It's a wine that became quite famous. The British exported a lot of it throughout the whole world and to the US. To give you an idea, the founding fathers loved the Madeira wine. Thomas Jefferson, for instance, loved a sip of his Madeira wine, and Madeira wine was used to toast the Declaration of Independence in the US, to sign the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, there you
This
go.
is true facts, history about Madeira.
That's good timing because we're coming up to the 250th anniversary of the US. Well done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Still in the gastronomy, you will have other dishes from the wheat soups or the tuna steaks or even the black scabbard fish. You can't miss this fish in the market. It's the ugliest fish you'll find there. It looks like a prehistorical creature, but it is delicious to try. And also our fried maize. Now, I've given you here some of the gastronomy, local gastronomy, but we also have a lot of fine dining restaurants with everything from Michelin star restaurants to Michelin recommended restaurants and other restaurants as well. So there's a bit of everything for everyone in Madeira. Now, mind you, we are still in Funchal, but we now climb up to 540 meters of altitude to Monte, the city's highest parish. And why not take the cable car there and then go down in the weakest ledges in a exhilarating ride? Also, something not to be missed are the parks and gardens. I've told you about the amazing climate that Madeira has. So this makes it the perfect place to develop different sets of plants and trees. Some of them are endemic from the island, while others came from all around the world, and you can visit them on our beautiful parks and gardens. But there's much more to see than just Funchal. If you go through the south coast, you'll find the most beautiful sunsets on the island at the parishes of Jardim do Mar and Pão do Mar. And right after Funchal, you have this beautiful fishing village called Câmara de Lobos. So Winston Churchill went to Madeira and loved to paint Câmara de Lobos Bay. Here you'll also find Europe's highest sea cliff, Cabo Girão. At 580 meters of altitude, it will give you amazing views towards Madeira's ocean. Now, moving to the north coast, the scenery gets even more dramatic. As you can see, it's the mountains and the ocean very close to each other in a beautiful palette of green and blue color. Here, one of the biggest attractions are the natural pools of Porto Moniz and Seychelles that you see here. Now, these are natural lava pools because the island is volcanic, but you can swim there and enjoy the amazing temperature of Madeira's ocean. And also in the north coast, you can find the vineyards that give birth to the delicious wines that Madeira has. Not only the fortified wine I mentioned, but also table wines with red, white, and rosé grapes. Your clients can visit these vineyards and enjoy amazing wine tastings. So by now you can see that the island is filled with exuberant nature. Madeira has a forest which is endemic. It's called the laurisilva forest. This is a type of forest that used to exist throughout the whole European continent. Nowadays it only exists in what we call the Macaronesian Islands. So these are the islands such as Azores, Madeira, Canary Islands, and Cape Verde. So it gives it the perfect set to practice different outdoor activities. For the more adventurous, we've got things like canyoning, mountain biking, or even trail running. But one of the most famous activities the island is known for is the hiking. The island has this network of water channels called the Levadas. These are irrigation channels built by our ancestors in the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries to bring water from the north side of Madeira to the south side. And you can hike and walk alongside these water channels in the middle of the nature. Being an island and surrounded by ocean, there's obviously something to do there as well. So that's why you can do things like scuba diving, stand-up paddle, or even surf lessons, and also boat tours. But golf is also very important for us. Madeira has currently 3 golf courses, 2 on the island of Madeira and the 3rd one on the island of Porto Santo. But as we speak, we are currently building a 3rd golf course in Madeira. Now moving to Porto Santo, the 2nd island that I mentioned, smaller, much different from Madeira, as you can see from here, more flat, but with a beautiful 9-kilometer golden sandy beach. This beach has quite amazing characteristics. So the sand is quite rich in some minerals that are good for your skin. So some hotels will have things like wellness treatments, salmon-therapy treatments, which consists of indulging yourself in the warm sands, and that's very good for your skin. But besides the beach, the island also has its own golf course, as I've mentioned. It's designed by Severiano Ballesteiros, but you can also do boat tours for whale and dolphin watching, scuba diving, mountain biking, horse riding tours, hiking, to name but a few. Now, Madeirans have been welcoming visitors for more than 200 years, so we know a thing or two about entertaining our guests. And that's why you'll find a rich calendar of events that goes from January to December. There's always something happening somewhere in the islands. And that makes it a very nice excuse for you to visit the island throughout the whole year round. So we have briefly discussed what makes Madeira special. Much more there would be to discuss. I think if your clients are looking for something unique, if they're into different experiences, if they're into something genuine, if they're into finding the best holiday destination, then I'd say that Madeira is definitely everything there is.
Going on holiday to stay in the shade? Or to walk around for hours in the heat? Spending a day choosing a wine, wake up at dawn and spend the entire morning contemplating the past and spend afternoons doing nothing. Yes, it's everything I'm into. Madeira, everything you're into.
So thank you.
Okay, excellent. Quick and to the point as well. Okay, so I've got some questions for you in no particular order. First of all, are you Madeiran? Are you Portuguese? Are you Brazilian?
I am Madeiran.
You're Madeiran. Were you born in Madeira, obviously?
I was born in Madeira,
Okay,
yeah.
so...
But I'm Portuguese as well, obviously.
Well, I thought, yeah, well, okay, you know what I mean. So you're a local versus...
Local, yes.
Okay. So where are you based now with your job?
I am based in Funchal, the capital of Madeira.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you might have been in New York or something.
No,
like
I
that.
arrived just yesterday.
Oh, so this is just... Oh, okay, because when you said you were coming in, I thought you might have been Toronto-based or...
No, I came here to Toronto, for another
nice.
event. So, yeah, happy coincidence
happy
to be
coincidence
here talking to you.
Okay. Again, so no particular... for our audiences out there as well, our American listeners, you mentioned the temperature about 20 degrees on average, which is about 68 Fahrenheit for our American listeners. I noticed when you brought up Porto Santo, the image, I think there was a volcano there. The island is volcanic.
Correct.
Which is why the wines are so... Well, they grow wine because of the soil.
Yes, there's a quite interesting thing there. So the islands are indeed volcanic. So the soil is quite rich in minerals. Mm-hmm. But for the wines, you have a nice mix of the sea breeze with the mountain breeze that gives it, along with the minerals of the land, gives it the right terroir properties, as we call them, to have amazing wines.
Okay. So how big is the island of Madeira?
So the island is about 50 kilometers by 20.
So it's small.
Small,
but
yeah.
Roomy, okay.
Yeah. And Porto Santo is even smaller.
Yes, okay. How much smaller? Half the size?
More than that. Should be more than that.
So it's really small.
Yeah.
Oh, okay then. So how do you get between the two islands or the other islands? Boat?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Both islands are connected by a ferry boat service, but you also have a plane service between the two islands.
Right. So getting from North America, you mentioned, I think, a flight out of Newark?
Correct.
Now it's a direct flight, or is that into...
It's a direct flight with United Airlines through Newark to Funchal's airport.
What's the airport code for Funchal?
It's LPMA, if I'm not mistaken.
LPMA. Okay, now for a Canadian client, they can obviously, if you're on the East Coast, fly down to Newark and direct. Otherwise, for anyone else, it'd be in via
Lisbon, via
Europe
Porto.
in general, but Portugal in particular.
Yeah.
Okay then. So what's the flight time direct from Newark?
From Newark, it's about a 7-hour flight.
Right, and that's how you got to and from? You
Correct.
Came via Newark. So via Europe. So let's do the obvious one. Out of Lisbon into Funchal, what's the flight time?
1 hour and 30 minutes.
So it's just a short hop from there. Okay. So the obvious thing is you combine mainland Portugal with Madeira and Porto Santo. Okay then. You mentioned it's a year-round destination. Are there any rainy periods or anything like that, or is it pretty much, as you say, sunny and comfortable most of the year?
It has what we call a subtropical climate, so it's different climates interacting with each other.
Right.
The rule of thumb, as I call it, is usually in the north coast, because it's where the sea breeze comes from, is where usually the weather is more unpredictable. So north coast and mountains, and usually the south coast is where the weather is better. Because what happens, Don, is that the north current brings the clouds, and in the middle of the island, imagine it filled with mountains, with our laurel silver forest that captures all these clouds.
Right.
That's also why this forest is so important. It produces a lot of the water we have.
Okay. Right.
So these forests in the mountains in the middle captures all these clouds and prevents them to come to the south, where the weather is better.
And where's Funchal? In the south?
Funchal is in the south.
In the south, right. So you mentioned the water thing. So are there? I assume there might be some natural springs on the island, but the bulk of your water is from the clouds?
Correct.
And through the osmosis of the clouds into the valleys. And
correct.
Wow, okay, interesting. And that in turn is why those the water channels
Levadas,
were built to bring them from the north, as you said, to the south.
It's brilliant engineering.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay, excellent. Obvious answer, I think, but I'll ask it for our agents out there. The language spoken in Madeira would be Portuguese primarily.
Portuguese, though a lot of people will speak English. There's quite a lot English-British influence on the islands.
Oh, there is? Is
Yes.
that back to the sort of colonial...
Yes, exactly.
The day of sail?
Yes.
And I guess the islands back then were seen as a strategic point and people were
Correct.
fighting over them. Okay.
And so Winston Churchill came to the islands.
Well, that's my next question. So when was he there?
He was there, can't remember now the
It's just after the World War?
period. Yes, I think it was right after the World War. I can check.
Okay. Oh, no, I was just curious. Okay, so again, for those who are travelling there, and this would be by extension the same for Portugal itself, that Portuguese is the official language, but English for travellers is widely used. Therefore, someone's not going to feel cut off, so to speak, by not having any Portuguese.
Not at all. And Madeirans are very helpful. If you ever have any questions, like, for instance, where's the cathedral? Everyone is very welcome and loves to help people.
Right. Okay, then. And I've learned a lot of our agents out there would have some Spanish maybe, and though it's not the same language, I've learned you can get by with Spanish and Portuguese.
It's a curious thing you're mentioning Spanish because Madeirans, a lot of them immigrated to Venezuela. So a lot of them will actually speak Spanish as well. Yeah.
Okay, so Portuguese main, Spanish or English and Spanish.
Correct.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So you were mentioning wine is a big export. Tourism would obviously be a big generator for the island. Does the island have any other main economy to make money or bring money into the island? I know it's part of Portugal, so there's, from a government point of view, I'm sure there's money moving back and forth. But from an industry point of view, it's a small island. Like, I'll ask it, is there mining? Is there diamonds? Is it just tourism? Is it wine? Is it seafood?
I'd say tourism is the main driver of the economy. It's responsible for about 30% of our GDP, which is a lot for a small island. Then there are services, little services gravitating all around this, as we call them. The wines are also very important. Agricultural exports as well.
What do you export other than the wine?
Bananas, for instance. We produce a lot of bananas. They grow very well up to 400 meters of altitude. Okay. And especially in the south coast, though, you will also find them on the north coast. But they are the tree likes the good weather, so it's more focused on the south coast.
Is your economy somewhat independent of mainland Portugal? Like, do you run as at least economically independently to a degree? Or is what you do just part of the bigger Portuguese
I'd say
picture?
It's part of the bigger Portuguese, yeah.
Right, okay, cool. The wineries. Okay, so self-driving, car hire, is that a big thing around Madeira and Porto Santo?
It is a big thing, though it can be quite challenging.
For what reason?
Because Madeira is a volcanic island, so there's not many flat spaces there. It's not a common sightseeing. A lot of mountains, so the roads are very hilly, sometimes with lots of ups and downs, so you really have to use your gearbox.
Oh, okay.
For the ones who love driving, it is a nice challenge.
Yeah.
I love driving as well, so I like that. But if you don't want to go through this, there's a lot of tour companies that will take you to all those amazing places and all the amazing landscapes.
So if you are doing a self-drive, if you wanted to circumnavigate or drive the main roads of Madeira, is that a day's worth? Is it not stopping the sightseeing? If you just want to drive it, can you do it in a day?
I mean, you could, but without stopping.
Without stopping, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give people an idea of the distances. So on the flip side, obviously, we don't recommend doing it a day. So as you drive around the island, I would assume there are little villages in which you can stay in hotels,
correct,
resorts, wellness. So on that note, like, how is Madeira geared from an accommodation point of view? I'm sure you have your 5-star down to your 3-star. Do you offer wellness things? Do you offer homestays with local families?
There's a bit of everything for everyone there, Don. So you have starting from the local Airbnbs and villas to 3-star, 4-star, or even 5-star properties. Some of them with their own spas for wellness treatments. So there's really a bit of everything for everyone in terms of offer. Okay.
Is Madeira viewed from mainland Portugal as a domestic holiday destination for the Portuguese on the mainland? Is it viewed as a wealthy island, like a French Riviera vibe to it, or is it just part of Portugal that people may go to?
That's an interesting question. It's actually a part of Portugal where the Portuguese go to. To give you an idea, the Portuguese domestic market is our biggest market at the moment.
Right.
It has surpassed number 2 and 3, which are Germany and UK.
Okay. So if our agents are speaking to one of their clients out there and the client's interested in Portugal, mainland, what can they say to their client to say you should visit Madeira? Like how different or what are the differences, be it in what you see and do or see and hear from mainland Portugal to going to Madeira?
Well, for starters, we have our own wines, which you can also find in Portugal, but ours are different. They have the little Madeira twists. Our gastronomy is also different by its own. The landscapes, the people, the activities, the whole thing is just different on its own. But that's a nice thing about Portugal. We are a small country, but with amazing regions, and each region of tourism has something different to offer that the other region doesn't have. In terms of Madeira, we're also quite big also in culture. We've got amazing museums to visit. I'll give you an example. One of my most famous museums is the Sacred Art Museum. Now, this museum has paintings, religious paintings, which were acquired to the central parts of Europe back when the Portuguese didn't discover Brazil yet, and Madeira was an important piece of the Kingdom of Portugal at the time to grow up and develop sugarcane. So the sugar produced from the sugarcane, as the Portuguese called it at the time, the white gold, was used by commerciants to trade these paintings with the central part of Europe. And many of these paintings are in this museum. It's one of my personal favorite museums.
So I think it's something you point out there, that they're different regions of Portugal. And as we mentioned, if you're in mainland Portugal, it's only an hour and a half by plane. So it's not a long way away. It's not, even though it is in the middle, or not the middle of the Atlantic, in the Atlantic. I don't think you need to tell your clients that it's not forever away. It's an hour and a half, which is a very short hop. It's a domestic flight, obviously.
Correct.
So there's very little in regards to paperwork to get in and out. So consider it or position it as just another unique province or region of Portugal itself. Anything else you want to add about Madeira? Well, I guess visas is European Portugal, so there's no real sort of drama there for Canadians or Americans. That's what I want to touch on. Based on your slides and my little bit of research beforehand, because I now know more about Madeira, knew nothing about it prior. To me, it seems like, based on its nature, literal nature, it's a very, or doesn't have to be, but would be suggestive of an active destination, because you mentioned in your slides diving, obviously, trekking is a big thing. I notice every photo I look for Madeira, it's someone walking somewhere. Okay, show me a photo of a town, but no, it's someone trekking somewhere. So that's obviously big. Trekking, mountain biking or biking in general, self-driving, getting out there in the wild, diving, surfing, beach. Do you have any resorts on Madeira like you would find on the Spanish Mediterranean coast?
Not as big as those, but we do also have our own resorts. But if you're not into these activities, there's many others that I haven't mentioned.
Yeah, please do.
For instance, you can go on a stargazing tour, on a sunrise or sunset tour.
The skies have got to be beautiful there, crystal clear. Yeah.
A jeep tour, but with a driver that will take you to all these amazing landscapes. A boat tour for whale and dolphin watching. If you want to rent your own private charter, you can also do that. So there's a bit of everything for everyone. If you like food, we've talked about food. Madeira is becoming quite a popular foodies destination. If you want to go just for the wellness, just to relax, just to sit by the pool, Madeira also has that. Our main motto is belongs to all, so everyone is welcome to Madeira.
That. Okay. Do you have cruises available either around Madeira or around the island groups, like a 2 or 3 night cruise versus just the ferry to get to and from?
We do get a lot of cruise ships coming to Madeira. Yes, back in the old days when there were no airports, the boats were the port of entrance for Madeira. So we do get quite a lot of them, especially during the winter season, because Madeira is known as a winter sun destination.
Okay. So it's a touchy subject now, but it's a subject that needs to be broached. I just actually watched 60 Minutes here in Toronto last night, and there was a segment on over-tourism in Europe, primarily. And we know it's over-tourism everywhere, but Europe is the one that gets all the notice. And what was mentioned by the cities in question were Venice, this is in the story, Venice, Athens, Barcelona, a few others. One thing they mentioned, other than just these destinations becoming very, very popular, were cruise ships, pulling in, dropping 3,000-4,000 people and then disappearing the same day. Are you being Madeira, are you in that situation with respect to cruise ships that you have a lot of people in short hits and then come and gone?
Not at all, because our scale of cruise ships is not as big as those big cruise ships that goes to all those seas.
Right, so you're talking smaller capacity ships.
Exactly.
So as we sit here today, the over-tourism is not an issue for Madeira.
No.
And that's a very long way to lead back into questions we get about, I'm going to use a term I heard last night in the 60 Minutes episode, was secondary cities, so not Rome, Palermo, something like that. So maybe not Lisbon, and I'm not talking anyway from Portugal itself, but look to somewhere like Madeira if you want to avoid the big crowds. But it sounds like you don't have that issue at the moment, which is a good thing, but we want to get more people there, not shiploads necessarily, we want more people into Madeira. So I think you can look at Madeira, again, as a region of Portugal where less travellers will be easily accessible, be it directly from New York or obviously from Lisbon or anywhere else in Western Europe, I guess. I'm guessing the English would find Madeira a popular spot to fly to?
Oh, yes, definitely. We have
the
regular flights
from
with
London,
UK.
Paris, or like all the big capitals of Europe?
All the main capitals of Europe are all connected with...
Which I think you threw up a map of the connections. Okay,
correct.
Fine. Okay, then. Well, I think I'm all out of questions. Anything else you'd like to say to our audience before we say goodbye?
Well, just say everyone is welcome to Madeira, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there. So it was a big pleasure to be here with you, Don. If anyone has any questions, you've got my email here on the last slide. So feel free to drop me any questions you might have about the island. I'm here to help you answer
Excellent.
them.
So again, please feel free to reach out to Visit Madeira and Martim directly. You might get hit with a lot of phone calls now. And of course, our destination specialists are all very well trained. And again, we have Martim in the office today. But our staff are very well trained up on Portugal mainland and of course Madeira. I don't know off the top, this you probably can answer. I'm sure we have on our website some Madeira-focused itineraries. Okay.
And we currently have a campaign with you guys as well to promote the islands.
Yeah, which is what we're doing here today. So go to our website, www.goway.com, look for Portugal, and it'll be under there because it is the country. You'll see some sample itineraries. And again, remember with Goway, what you see there is an idea. You can customize it however you see fit. Sounds like the island is perfectly geared for customization as well. It's got everything, which I didn't know about. Culinary, the wildlife, the activities, easy connections, self-driving. It's got it all. Even Winston Churchill went there. That's saying something. So on that note, I'd like to thank Martim for your time today. Really appreciate it. And as always, you out there for listening in, giving us an hour of your time. We know how busy you are. And until next time.